Billy, good morning. Thanks for calling in, man.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. I must have that face for radio.
Not at all. It's our bad because we couldn't get the tech right, dude. It's hard to believe that it's been 13 years since you last pitched in the big leagues. You retired after the 2010 season. Tell us what you've been doing during that time, chasing kids around, I'd imagine, and how much baseball you're still watching.
Well, I watch a lot of baseball. I chase my kids around. I've got three boys and a daughter. I'm down in Puerto Rico right now watching my daughter play basketball. But my oldest is in AAA with the Astros. My middle's playing college baseball for Towson. And then my youngest, I'm still coaching in high school. So I'm a high school coach. So I'm around baseball about 24/7. This is about the only time of the season when I'm not really into baseball because I've got basketball with my daughter.
Billy, Jake Peavy, buddy, good to catch up. Happy that you're enjoying family time. I know what that's like. I want to ask you about what you missed the playing days. I get asked that all the time. What do you miss most about your playing days or look back fondly on?
Well, it's never a game. I don't think we ever. I think it's just the camaraderie of of our bullpen guys. I mean, you miss the Jay Powells, the Peter Moylan's, the guys that were really. I mean, Tim Moore. I mean, there's guys that I could list for hours that meant a lot to me as a player. I mean, the Brad Lidges, the Octavio Dotels, the Wagner Sanchez, go on and on and on, that just made my 16 years special because of just knowing, we all were a unit, knew what we were all going through. And then, when you have a reliever that has a chance to go in the Hall of Fame, you really know that you're representing that whole relieving class, because without those types of awesome players, I'd never even have this opportunity.
Wags, you got a lot of people around here, Jake and I among them. I think Harold feels the same way when he's around, that feel pretty strongly about you as a Hall of Famer. Do you pay attention to that dialogue every January? Are you watching the votes and the numbers, or is that something that you consider, if it happens, it happens?
Well, I'd love to say if it happens, it happens. But, I think there was a period at the beginning of this that you become very frustrated because you don't understand. And then there's that middle part where you kind of sit there and you're just like, whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to put myself in. And then the worst thing that could happen is that they say, hey, you got a real chance here. You're at 68%. You need 20 votes. And now, you're like, oh my God, this is really possible. So now it gets a little bit more nerve wracking because, your numbers are done. Your playing days are done. And I mean, there's nothing I can do to improve. I mean, I've got people that are like, hey, we need to reach out to these voters and we need to talk to these people. My playing days did all the talking. It's so hard to explain what it takes to get into the Hall of Fame because it's a lot of your numbers and it's a lot of political talking to people that you may have never seen you, don't even know you, just know you from what somebody has said. So, I mean, there's just so much more to this than I would have ever imagined.
Mm. Well, those of us that know you know that you're not going to go on this huge self-promotional tour. It's our job. And just what you said earlier about the guys who pitched the 8th and the 7th who became closers and you representing the class, that tells us everything and should tell the listener everything we need to know about Billy Wagner as a teammate. Hall of Famer, buddy. Look, I want to ask you about Will. Will's on a Hall of Fame highway, it looks like. I know you love all your kids, but he's in the AAA organization, if I've got that right, with the Astros, hitting .337?
Well, you know what? The good thing is I married up, and my wife was pretty good as a hitting coach because I could get people out, but I couldn't teach you to hit. But no, he's really just been, growing up in that big league atmosphere, the clubhouses, being around guys like a Bagwell, Biggio, Milt Thompson taking him out there, just seeing people that kind of, it wears him. And he's eat up with it. He wants that big league life. And, I'm happy that he's got that opportunity. He's really embraced it, and he's doing well.
Hey, batters hit 187 against you in your career. Will get a hit, or are you punching his ticket?
He ain't hitting me, but
that's
right.
But
that's just I tell you what's unique though is being a left-handed pitcher and a left-handed hitting son. And I know one thing: he doesn't fear a lefty. So I've hit him more times than he's ever been hit by anybody else. So he's not worried about facing a lefty. He may not do well against certain ones, but he doesn't fear them.
Hey, Wags, speaking of, left-handed influence and influence among former teammates, I remember back in '98, you'd been with the big league club. That was your third year. You were already closing. And Randy Johnson was acquired by the Astros in that deal from Seattle. And I remember the stories at the time that were going around that you and Randy Johnson connected, and there was a little alteration that he showed you on how he threw his slider that unlocked even more success for you. Can you relive that, go through that for us, and share with us what those conversations were like?
Yeah, I mean, that year I'd gotten hit in the face by Kelly Stinnett, and when I came back, we acquired Randy. And so, it was unique to have another lefty on the staff. And so he would ask me about the hitters because he hadn't faced them. The interleague was barely new. And so he would ask me certain things and stuff. And he, kind of gave me some tips on, just grips to the slider because I was still in the baby stage, just trying to figure out how to throw it. And, and it kind of evolved. And, Randy helped in a lot of ways. But the guy who really threw it into was Brad Lidge. Brad had one of the best sliders I'd ever seen. And he, it just kind of evolved. And Randy was that beginning point to kind of show me with a left-handed grip to throw a little bit more of a slider like Lidge would throw. But, and that's the whole great thing about the big leagues and longevity is over that time to have longevity, you have to have those people in your career and your life that give you those little tidbits. And, I was blessed to have that opportunity. And, Randy was known for grunts a lot. He'd look at you and grunt. So, he taught me a lot of times with just looking at me and grunting on a breaking ball. And having him there for 6 to 8 weeks to kind of help me kind of develop more was just a perfect situation for me.
Man, I can remember, it really seems like yesterday, being privy to conversations when Billy was in AAA and the Astros were unclear as to whether his future was going to lie as a starter or as what he turned into, as a dominant closer. Billy, when they told you your starter's days were over and that you were going to be a closer, initially, were you reluctant? Did you accept that new thing, or did you feel like you wanted to start back then?
No, I was like, I have a chance to actually play in the big leagues because if I was going to be a starter, you have to be special to be a starter. You really have to. When we played, when Jake Peavy was a player, when you had guys, Darryl Kyles, Shane, you had to be able to really pitch. And it wasn't just always a stuff thing. I didn't have enough stuff to pitch, and then I didn't have a very good changeup. Couldn't throw my curveball very consistent, and going in and blowing it out for an inning or two was perfect for me because I could go through a lineup and not have to really show, and it fit my mentality of being able to go every day. I had the luxury of being able. I didn't get really sore, not until you hit about that 30, 32-year range. That's when you start going, okay, I can't. I've got to take better care of myself. But I enjoyed the closing, and it's funny that it's happened that when I was in Puerto Rico, I was coming down here to pitch for Santurce Crevejeros, and Larry Dierker gets the job, and it comes down, and he asked me, do you want to start or do you want to be the closer? And I said, I want to be the closer. And he goes, okay. And it was literally that type of conversation. And Matt Galante, Vern Rule go, all right, he's going to close. And I went from starting, I'd started the whole time down here, but being in the bullpen to that's where I stayed. And, I honestly think, Larry Dierker probably changed my career because he allowed me to have a voice in that decision. And in a lot of ways, it's helped a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame get to the Hall of Fame.
Man, that's such good insight, man. The candor is unbelievable. J.P. Morosi is with us, Wags, an actual Hall of Fame voter. And I guess it's your opportunity. You don't need to sell him because I think he's in your camp too. But JP, take it away. I know you have a question for Billy.
Yes, thanks, Matt. And Billy, great to speak with you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. You mentioned that you're down in Puerto Rico watching Olivia play basketball. And I wonder, as a sports dad, what have you learned about sports and the games that we play through now watching the second generation of the Wagners play these great sports, whether it's basketball or baseball, which you coach?
Well, I don't know if we have enough time on this show, but what I've learned from being a sports dad and coaching and playing is that these games are hard, and that allowing your young adults to play and fail and learn how to feel and not give them a bunch of numbers gives them a better chance of success. And that when we start putting numbers, and I use baseball terms, of course, of exit velos and spin rates and stuff like that, they lose feel for how do you face and compete. And so as a high school coach, I coach feel way more than I coach numbers. And, like Brent Strom told me, hitters will let me know if I keep backing up third base that I might need to change what I'm doing. And so, as that father, I'm more of a feel. And so when I talk to Will or I talk to my Jeremy, Olivia, or Kason, it's all about feel. It's never about a number, because the feel is what winners are made of.
Wags, you're the best, man. We love this interview. We love visiting with you. I feel like somebody that's listening from MLB.com right now, Allison or one of the Houston writers, should re-rack this and commit it to print, because there was some great stuff in there, bud. Have fun the rest of your trip in Puerto Rico. Happy Thanksgiving. Really awesome to visit with you again, and we'll hope to talk to you again in January.
Well, I appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Thanks for having me on.